Trying to unravel a case of autoimmune illness with all of its complexities can pose a formidable challenge for even the most experienced practitioners. In this video, I'm going to share how to find more clinical confidence with autoimmunity and what not to do. Typically, when practitioners are working with a client who has been dealing with an autoimmune illness, they will focus first on gut health. And while this isn't wrong, it is misguided to believe that cleaning up any gut dysbiosis will be the key to freeing every person from their symptoms, when in reality, most of the time, it is just part of what needs to happen. While gut health often plays a role, with autoimmunity there are multiple factors at stake, and each case will be totally unique because each person and their life experiences is unique. But when we're taught to heal the gut and you will heal the immune system, and then you don't see improvement in the symptoms or the immune dysfunction after completing the initial gut protocol, you may actually feel as if you have failed the patient, and in turn this can really affect your overall clinical confidence. This is especially true if you have been taught to follow clinical protocols instead of learning how to think about each case. A very important thing to understand about autoimmunity is that it is never always anything. There is not always leaky gut. There is not always Epstein-Barr virus. So to find your clinical confidence with autoimmunity, you actually have to get comfortable with discomfort and with not knowing in your clinical practice. Part of being comfortable with the uncomfortable is learning to be okay with not having all the answers that you want at the time that you want them. You can't make any assumptions, even if you know the research inside and out. You've never worked with this person before. So you have to get comfortable with the idea of there being trial and error involved. Even if you're really sure about something, you have to get comfortable with not being able to make any promises to the person and not knowing what the end result will be. You have to be honest about whether or not they're likely to improve or what your position is on that, because some people improve and it feels like a miracle, and with some people you might be slugging away for 2 years and you don't really get very far. But you won't know until the end process for any given person which of those examples they're more likely to resemble. So again, the key to working with autoimmunity is never to assume that it's one thing or that you have the answers. However, you might have to consider and rule in or rule out everything. Don't limit yourself thinking it's always Epstein-Barr virus, or it's always dysbiosis in the gut, or it's always candida, it's always mold. You have to know where to look and when to look at it. You're going to need to assess toxins, you're going to need to assess foods, you're going to need to assess infections, stress, movement, and multiple other factors at some point or another. Another important part of the process is to have a bi-directional relationship with the person that you're working with, that you are in this with them together, that they are an active part of the decision-making process. This is actually something that also helps a lot with clinical confidence, because you need to take off that "I will fix you" hat. Instead, you are hopping into the arena together, letting them know that we are going to get muddy together and that you are here for them. And that is where the magic happens, actually. Once you stop focusing on "I've got to fix this person" and start just working with them on their health, on their quality of life, on the landscape, then working with autoimmunity completely changes. This is a population of people who are being underserved or even failed by the conventional system. They need to feel heard. They need to have someone who is prepared to get stuck into their case and hold their hand when the road gets rough. So the more that you can get comfortable with not having all the answers, but knowing what questions you need to ask, the more people you're likely to help. To go deeper on this and related topics, register for our free masterclass on how to boost your clinical confidence practicing functional medicine. Simply scroll down to the bottom of this page.